Namaste. I'm going to share with you today a very interesting story about attachment and not being able to see the bigger picture, right? Being so caught up in your own world that you miss out on much bigger opportunities. So this is an ancient story. There was a king in a city in India, in a kingdom in India, and he liked to go through the bazaar and meet his subjects. So one day he was going on his horse through the bazaar road, and he sees this old woman, and she has a small basket of fish that she's selling. And the king liked to invite people at random to come enjoy the luxuries of the palace for two reasons. One, he liked being kind, but he also liked having his courtiers praise him as what a kind and generous king he was. So the old woman is invited to the palace to enjoy the luxuries. She is led to a beautiful room. It has a big bed, linens and velvet and all of that, just incredibly beautiful pots with rose petals and pots with water and rose petals, and a couple of maids to fan over her while she sleeps at night. They feed her a sumptuous dinner, just a beautiful dinner, right? Best food she has ever had in her life. And then they retire her to bed so she can sleep. The next morning, the king invites the woman to the court. So he's there, and all his courtiers are there, and the woman walks in. And the king asks her, he says, how was your stay? How was your night? How did you sleep? And he's expecting her to say, oh my king, that was the best experience of my life. That luxury was immense. You are such a kind and generous king for allowing me to experience that. I thank you so much. Instead, the woman says, oh king, I could not sleep a wink. It was the worst night of my life. And the king is startled. He's taken aback. He says, excuse me, was the bed not comfortable? I will execute the person who was in charge of taking care of you. And she goes, no, king, they did a fantastic job. The bed was fantastic. Everything was great. But I could not sleep without my basket of fish. And the king is taken aback. He's almost embarrassed in front of all his courtiers. And so he's angry, and in a sarcastic tone, he says, you could not sleep because of your rotten fish? And she nodded. She said, yes, my lord, I need my fish. The king, of course, sends her away. Now think about this story, my friend. This old woman had access to the most beautiful luxuries in the land. But she was not able to enjoy that because her mind is so consumed in her life and in her situation, and so used to the fish. Ask yourself, we need to ask ourselves, are we so caught up in what we are doing that it prevents us from enjoying something far more beautiful, far more superior? Are we caught up in our own lives? Right? We're living in this material world. We are either having a good time because we have money, we have good family, we have good reputation, we're enjoying that, or we are struggling because some aspect of life is not happy, we're sad and depressed. But in either situation, we are still caught up. Either the fish smells really good, or we are selling roses on the street, or we are selling stinky fish. But we are so caught up in that that we are missing out on this beautiful opportunity that every one of us has. Right? And what is that opportunity? Within us is this infinite amount of peace and bliss, infinite amount of happiness, and we completely are oblivious to it. We're not able to enjoy it because we are so caught up in our day-to-day. The king reflects on what the woman said and what she went through, and he begins to question everything about himself. And he realized that the woman was so caught up in what she, or what her life was, how attached she was, how used to she was, that she could not separate that and enjoy the luxuries. He begins to ask himself, what am I missing in life? I live in this palace, I have a beautiful kingdom, and I'm enjoying all of that. But is there something bigger than this that I need to go search for? And so the king steps down and goes in the search of truth, because he says to himself, for the woman, she was so obsessed, she was so caught up in her life, but I am no different from her. I have all the luxuries, but I am also so caught up in my life. I need to go find out what truly exists, and if it exists, something bigger that I may be missing out on. Please think about this story. It's part of my chapter 4 called The Mind's Bubble, audio book, Happy Soul, Hungry Mind. You can listen to this entire chapter on YouTube for free. Please listen to it and think about your own life and say, okay, I am obsessed or I am so attached to something. Is that leading me to miss out on something much bigger? Right? Do I need to stop and think about it? Thank you for listening. Namaste. At your core, you are peace. Be who you are. Be peace. Be peace.